Hey everyone. Another year of movies has come and gone, which means I'm ready to share my picks for the best of the year. I'm really excited because this is the first time in several years that I've seen enough movies to be comfortable making a top 10 list. I actually saw more new releases in 2023 than I have ever seen in a single year. 102 to be exact. While that does give me more credibility than the average moviegoer, be aware that I did not see every single movie in 2023. And the usual disclaimer, keep in mind that this is solely my opinion based on whatever movie spoke to me this year. There may have been some really good movies this year you loved that I personally didn't enjoy as much. One last thing, I have a companion video where I'll share my picks for the top 10 worst movies of 2023. Feel free to check that one out if you're in a mood to hear me roast some movies. So with all that out of the way, let's jump in and see what I think are the top 10 best movies of 2023. So kicking things off at number 10 is Sisu. This movie follows a Finnish commando turned gold prospector who discovers a huge deposit near the end of World War II, only for it to be stolen by a group of Nazis. The result is an insanely over-the-top action film as the prospector first evades the Nazis and leads them into traps, followed by a second half where he brutally hunts them down. There were a lot of great World War II films in 2023 with lots of Nazi deaths, but none were as bold in terms of spectacle and brutality. You really have to admire this prospector for taking such a beating but always getting back up and finding increasingly clever ways to one-up the Nazis. A perfect blend of big budget destruction and some well-placed humor, Sisu is one of the year's most satisfying action flicks. Moving from live action to animation, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I always appreciate animated movies that go big and do something different, and Across the Spider-Verse goes even bigger than the first. Miles Morales' story is always engaging, and the movie perfectly balances its main cast with a giant collection of Spider-Men and women from different universes. And while the fan service is fun, it never comes at the expense of the main story, and the movie has just as much heart as its predecessor. I'd say the only thing keeping it lower on the list is that I think it's a bit too long. Like they set out to make a 3-hour movie but then split it in two and extended each half. Even so, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is so refreshing and represents everything animated movies and comic book films should strive to be. At number 8 is Chang Can Dunk. This one is the most surprising movie on the list as I did not expect a Disney Plus original to do anything for me. But Chang Can Dunk is a compelling and highly entertaining story where I find myself really rooting for the main character. I empathize with Chang and I thought it was cool seeing him train to do a slam dunk and share his progress on social media. And while the fame going to his head is a predictable sports movie trope, I still think it's handled effectively. It has a really talented cast and an extremely relatable main character, so it's a surprising yet welcome addition to 2023. At number 7 is Elemental. Animated Disney and Pixar movies generally don't impress me the way they used to, so I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed Elemental. What's interesting is how Elemental doesn't have a main villain, an epic adventure, or extremely high stakes. It's a simple story about two characters from different backgrounds who form an unexpected connection. That's actually pretty refreshing, and it means the movie can focus on its characters and exploring its unique world in a way that feels natural. Topped off with gorgeous animation and good use of humor to balance out the serious themes, Elemental is a really satisfying movie. Then at number 6 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The MCU also hasn't impressed me much since Endgame, but thankfully the Guardians of the Galaxy saga went out with a bang. James Gunn's trademark energy and whimsical delivery shine through, complemented by an extremely emotional arc that can get surprisingly dark at times. I appreciate that the script gives all the characters something meaningful to do and brings each of their stories to a satisfying conclusion. Not to mention that the action and spectacle are outrageously over the top in the best way possible, with great filmmaking that many modern blockbusters are just lacking. Guardians 3 manages to break the constraints of the MCU to deliver one last epic adventure, perfectly capping off this group of characters. Moving into the top half of the list is Chevalier. A gripping story centered around a man that I previously knew nothing about, Chevalier blends classical music, operatic drama, timeless social issues, and the spark of rebellion all in one. The movie perfectly juggles its progression of events to a thrilling climax that brings all of the film's elements together. With a talented cast and a well-crafted story, Chevalier is one of the most memorable movies of 2023. At number 4 is Creed 3. Michael B. Jordan could not have made a better directorial debut than Creed 3. The movie takes everything that worked about the first two movies and takes it to the next level, creating a personal story between Adonis Creed and Damian Anderson. Both actors give their absolute all and push the rest of the cast to do their best too. Behind the camera, Jordan seems to have already mastered the craft, overseeing beautiful cinematography and very creative filmmaking for the final fight scene. The sound design is also exceptional, especially in theaters where you feel every punch landing. Creed 3 is a deeply moving story with some of the best boxing scenes in the entire Rocky franchise. Getting to the top 3, we have A Man Called Otto. Tom Hanks delivers yet another great performance as Otto, who starts the movie planning to commit suicide but is gradually brought out of his shell by his community. I like how Hanks portrays Otto as a very stern character who doesn't like socializing, but he also has a natural ability to help people and make their lives better. This makes it really moving when he begins making a genuine difference in people's lives as they begin making a difference in his, realizing he still has plenty to live for. That contrast between cynical depression and uplifting optimism makes for an intriguing combination and makes A Man Called Otto one of the year's most compelling stories. Now, these last two movies could interchange based on how I feel on any given day. They're both exceptional movies, and I loved them both. But coming in at number 2 is Missing. This is a standalone sequel to Searching from 2018, and it boasts the same style as its predecessor, which shows the story only on a computer screen. While that idea doesn't sound like it would work on paper, it's actually one of the most creative filmmaking styles that I've seen in recent years. It's also the perfect format for a mystery, and since it's done on a computer with tools that anyone has access to, it always feels believable that the main character could do these things, and it makes the narrative really immersive. Missing is a fantastic movie full of countless twists and turns, and it's certainly the best mystery thriller of 2023. And finally, I doubt this will surprise anybody, but at number 1 is Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer may have been hard for me to fully appreciate on first viewing, but I feel that it's become the defining movie of 2023. Christopher Nolan created a narrative that jumps all around the timeline and includes different styles at different points in the movie, but these separate threads ultimately complement each other to chronicle Oppenheimer's life. The movie always feels grand in scale, every moment carries weight and contributes to the character's life in some way. And purely from a filmmaking perspective, I just have to appreciate how ambitious Oppenheimer is. Nolan shot the movie on 70mm film, and I was lucky enough to see it at one of the 30 theaters in the entire world that was able to project it in 70mm IMAX. And of course, the effects team actually recreated a nuclear explosion to make the movie as authentic as possible. In the end, Oppenheimer is a testament to what cinema can be with enough passion and a talented team behind it. Oppenheimer easily earns its spot as the best film of 2023. So those are my picks for the top 10 best movies of the year. This was a really hard list to make after seeing so many movies in 2023, but it was also a lot of fun being more in the loop than I've ever been. Feel free to share your own top 10 list down in the comments. Also be sure to check out my top 10 worst video. That one was easier to make, but also a lot of fun. Well, time to bring this to a close. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in 2024.